Awesome. Thank you very much. Mimi naitwa Jeremy Damaris, moja kwa moja kutoka hapa Birmingham City. Na gugeciria kiuma mitambo-ini, huyu anayetoka kwa mitambo anaitwa Mware wa Zayuni na ako upande wa Spokane. Thank you very much. Na leo hii nimekuwa nimengojea hii muda sana, fursa hii this time because I know a lot of people here in the diaspora, wengine wako very much concerned because of immigration, the new laws, and of course kuna wale ambao walikuwa wamecheza green card ya 2025 wakawin, na saizi mpaka leo hii tarehe 23 hawajaitwa kwa interview. And of course kuna wengi sana wameenda kwa embassy, wamenyimwa visa and all those kind of things. Na ndio ninasemanga most of the time, because me I'm not an attorney, I like bringing on board an attorney who is actually an attorney who practices in immigration, ndio aweze kutuelezea zaidi what is happening. Kama uko na swali uilete hapa ndio tuweze kuiongelelea, and of course we help our people toteithia andu aitu kuria guothe mari hapa upande wa diaspora, and especially if you are in America and you have an interest of coming to the US. That is why today I'm hosting my good friend Attorney Charles Wanjohi from North Carolina, and I will tell you, this is not the first time. I've been with him for quite some time, and he's such a vibe. He's such a guy ambaye anasaidia watu wengi sana hapa juu ya immigration. Hata wale wanalada hapa America, immediately unataka kujua mambo ya sheria, mambo ya uhamiaji, he is the right guy. Bwana Charles, how are you?
I'm very well. I hope you are.
I am. Good to see you again.
Good. As always, good to see you.
I mean, imekuwa muda sasa. Sijakuona kwa muda. I don't know umekuwa ukimejificha wapi, ni kazi ama ni watu wanakutafuta, ni pesa zimekuwa mingi ama ni kazi bana?
Kwanza tunaanzia na mwisho. Tunaomba pesa zikuwe nyingi, lakini bado hazijakuwa mingi. Lakini kumekuwa na a lot of pressure kwa sababu ya huyu bwana Trump hataki mchezo. So we are in a lot of pressure.
Wow, asante sana. So unajua tukisikia lawyer akisema, attorney akisema kuna pressure, sasa sisi wananchi wa kawaida tutasema namna gani? Hebu tuanzie hapo, because right now niko na maswali chungu mzima ya watu kwanza ambao walikuwa wamecheza green card wakawini ya 2025. Kumekuwa na delay, sijui tumefika na bagani. Maybe you are the right person to tell us. Kuna tumaini? Is there any hope? Tuanzie hapo, and of course let me give you this opportunity. Kwanza usalimie watazamaji wetu na uambie uko pande gani. Karibu sana Charles.
Thank you so much. Asante sana all our fans. It's always a great pleasure to be here. Kwa nafurahi sana saa ile tuko na mazungumzo sana na Bwana Jeremy, because in a big way we help a lot of people with the little we know or the much we get to learn from because of our work. So tunashukuru sana. Those guys who have been supporting Kenya Diaspora TV, continue doing it. This is our station, and let's keep supporting Jeremy for the good work he does, not only in enlightening people who are in the US, those who are in Kenya, but also in a great way. He does a lot of charity work back at home, and we always support him, and we want him to continue succeeding in that. My name is Charles Wanjohi. I'm an attorney. I'm licensed in the state of New York, state of Washington, and also in Kenya. I work with Wanjohi and Muli Law Firm. I'm a founding member. I work with my colleague. She's called Tony Muli Raburu. We've been working together for over 13 years, and it has always been a great pleasure serving Kenyans. And to all Kenyans who are our clients, either current or past, tunashukuru sana. You the one who have made us in this practice for those so many years. So tumeshukuru sana, and I look forward to having this interactive moment with all of you.
Thank you bwana wakili, na kama unaweza inamuka hivi itakuwa mzuri sana. Ukue na hiyo posture, tukue na hiyo posture, very nice. So now bwana wakili, let's start with this. Green card, watu walicheza, tumekuja hapa mara mingi sana, we have been talking about green card, telling our people this is the best way, this is the right way, this is the right time. Wamecheza. Watu wa 2025, I don't know ni watu wa 25, 2025. Deadline inafika in a few days. wengi hawajaitwa interview. What is going on and is there any hope? Tuanzie hapo.
Well, I can quickly check the dates here as we talk, but what normally happens, there's the Congress requirement that a lot of visa must be issued before 30th of September. So, wale hatakuwa wamepata hiyo visa by 30th of September, there isn't much hope. And because it's not an issue of embassy, it's an issue of Congress. Congress may set the dates upon which the visa must be issued. So if it's not issued by that date, nothing can be done. And as you all know, a lot of these things are discretional, and we are in unprecedented times. We are during times of Donald Trump, who is really making life not one of the best for would-be immigrants. So, unfortunately, if one will not have got it by that date, itakuwa ngumu unless there is a class action which may extend the filing date, but I don't think it's going to happen because there is no good reason why there can be a class action. So all I'll tell them is poleni sana if you have not yet got an interview date and if you not have got it by next week.
Well, siyo ni ngumu sana after celebration, after kuselektiwa ukasema you have been selected. I mean, hizo preparation, I'm going to the US, and now here comes the disappointment. I mean, it's very hard.
It's very disappointing. It's very expensive. Remember, these people have paid a lot of money. They have paid thousands, and for those who are planning to come here, it means that they might not be doing very well back at home. So it's a big hit to them. It's a big hit to them, and all we do is just pray and hope for the best for them. I'm looking here. I'm seeing for our let's see, Nairobi. Okay. Yeah, it's lagging behind. It's in the terms of 17,500. The reality is there are elections last year, and choices have consequences. One of the things which the current administration had a problem with is these freebies, which include the DV lottery. It's their take that they don't want so many immigrants to come here. They feel that the purpose of DV lottery is to bring diversity in the United States. And as those who are in the United States already know, there has anything which is close to DEI, they are taking it away. Anything talking of diversity, equality, equity, all those, they don't want to do with it. So DV lottery is one of them, and that's what it's experiencing. You are also aware that H1B, they're also increasing the fees from the usual around 5,000 to 100,000. So you can clearly see that they're not only fighting to those less skilled people who come with DV lottery, they're even fighting skilled people who want to come here at the H1B visa. So it's not a good thing, but it is what it is. Sasa sisi tutangangana, wale wataweza, sawa, wale wataweza, tuombe next time.
Wow. So now, nimesikia ukisema wako 17,000. So inakuanga out of 100,000 ama 50,000. So it means only 17,000 people who have managed to go for an interview.
Yeah, what normally happens, the State Department issues visa availability for every month. And for the month of October, for the month of September, they have issued visa availability to those people whose number is at 17,500. So only those people whose number is between 1 and 17,500 are going to get it. And you all know that they normally notify 55,000 from number 1 to number 55,000. Those are people who are notified to go on with the process. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen this year. So there will be equivalent of somewhere close to 34,000 who will not manage to to come, and they are otherwise eligible to come here.
Wow. So, but now, if they don't get this time round, is there need to do it again? Is there need to play? Wanahitajika wacheze tena sasa now that is coming, you know, in month of October. And actually we don't know whether it is still there. Na nimesikia watu wakisema kuna charges za green card. So can you guide us on that, please, sir?
Well, it's good. They can still keep trying their best. Assuming somebody was number 35, maybe if they try this time, they might become number 5,000 and they get it. So they can try. It's of course it's a little bit costly. It's very disappointing, and this time it will come with a fee of $1. So they will lose at least an extra $1, and chances are maybe they might get it, maybe they will not get it, but ni kujaribu. Taka tu mtu akae tu asi give up, mtu aendelee kujaribu.
So maybe a simple question: why would you think this government would just say kucheza green card you have to pay $1? I mean, ni kuonyesha kuna millions of people who try it, sasa they know they will make millions of dollars, ama ni just to keep some people away and jokers? I mean, what's the main idea of charging $1 for the green card?
I believe they want to raise funds. This government is keen in raising funds from all quarters. You have seen there's been an introduction of so many fees in the immigration process. You are aware there was also, I think in the next few weeks, there will be additional visa application fee. There might be an additional fee for visa application. So there's so much. In all lines, they are trying to increase the fees. A lot of filing fees have been increased. Those people who are applying for work permit, they are aware there has been some increment, especially those who are filing for initial work permit. Based on asylum, they were not paying. Now they have to pay. You also know people who are filing appeals. The fee has risen from 100 to 1,000. So I think the government want to raise a lot of fees as much as they can from would-be immigrants, and still at the same time they still want to keep people away. They understand that immigration system there is huge backlog. So one of the ways reduce the number of applicants, make it expensive. That's what they are trying to do.
All right. Thank you very much. First of all, appreciating the people who are watching us live. Thank you very much, Wanjohi Kebuja. Goodman, nasema very much interested in relocating to the US. Simon Kuria, thank you very much. Terega Shungi, Shiromwash, thank you. Benson Maina, wako kupande wa Facebook. Thank you, Wilson Joroge. Unaitisha link. Thank you, Mwarewaza Yuni, thank you very much. Asante sana. Sarume Wajiru, thank you very much. Heart Time, thank you very much. Asante Catherine Mwangi, Mine Wangeshi, thank you. Charles Kingori, thank you very much. And Isaac Kego, and of course Masin Davy, James Duo, unasema tuned in, keep up. JD, great job, nice talk. Kavunyi Peter, good job my brother, continue, bless you, God bless you. Kutoka upande wa Doha Katal, Kingasa, asante sana Elusi Jerry. Now let me ask you Bwana Wakiri, now since now the green card will be $1 per person, sasa hii itakuwa ikilipiwa website ni cybers watakuwa wakipewa hiyo pesa, ama sasa mtu atakuwa akilipa kwa website?
We're waiting for instructions, but I believe people will be paying online. There will be, most likely there will be a section where they use their credit card to make the payments.
And that is per person or is per application?
Per application.
Okay. Thank you very much. Nafikiria green card tutaenda tukiguzaguza mambo ya green card, but I just wanted to first of all kuguza hiyo mambo ya hao watu ambao wamenyimwa hawajafikia kuenda kwa embassy, and the days are coming to the end, September 30th, so itakuwa ngumu sana. That's what the lawyer just said. But of course kuna watu, I've received some messages from my good friend Wajajen from Washington State. Anasema kuna watu wengi sana ambao walienda, you know, like the way we normally say, kama hujafika high school and you have umeenda kwa course fulani at least for 2 years, you are eligible, you can just go and get the visa. But of course it has turned that most of the people were denied visas. hawa watu ambao hawajafika form 4, is there need for them to kucheza green card? Because most of them I've seen them telling me walienda wakanyimwa green card, wakanyimwa visa.
Well, what normally happens is people go there with whatever qualifications they have, but yes, they can play. But remember, the determination as to whether your qualification matches what the USCIS requires, what the embassy will require, you will need to be evaluated. You will need to send your qualification to a certain independent body to do the evaluation of your skills, your experience, and the vocational courses you have done, so that they can give the equivalent to the US one. Now, most people, they don't do that. They just go with a certificate from wherever college or a letter from whomever employer without having subjected it to proper evaluation. That's why they are always denied. You would need to do proper evaluation. Remember, when you are filing for a green card, the burden is on you to prove your eligibility. The burden does not lie on the embassy to prove you are not eligible. It's you to prove you are eligible. So if you don't go with the proper evidence of your qualification, you'll be denied. Unfortunately, most people, when they go, I have spoken with few who have been unsuccessful. When I ask them what documents they went with, they just tell me I went with a letter from employer, whatever, certificate from here, there. Those ones will not count. If those people would have subjected them to evaluation, just like when people like us, we came into this country, we subjected our transcript and our degrees for evaluation so that we can, there can be determined our equivalent to the US courses. That's what people should have done. Submit your qualification for evaluation, and then based on that, the person evaluating you can determine to what level of skills do you have in US. And based on that, the embassy can consider and approve your case. However, that evaluation takes time. It costs some money. So if somebody is likely to be selected, you need to start that process of evaluation way in advance. The minute you are notified that you are successful, that's the time to start the process of evaluation. Unfortunately, there is no one to do evaluation in Kenya. Evaluation will have to be done in the US. So you need some US contacts to take you through the process of evaluation.
All right, thank you very much, Bwana Wakili. Now, another question, because tuko pale tu kwa green card. Most of the people have seen them like, because we separated or they separated with their spouse. Unaona mtu amecheza green card, ameweka watoto yake hapo, and of course amesema pale separation ama whatever, divorced. And then of course, Mungu ni mwema, ana win green card. Anaenda pale kwa embassy, anaulizwa baba ya watoto wako wapi, anasema, lakini hana consent yoyote ya kuonyesha amemkubalisha waende Marekani. Unakuta wengi sana walinyimwa. So what do you have to tell people who are singles, I mean, na wako na watoto? Because I think in America they believe kila mtoto wako na baba yake.
What normally happens in such situations, they need to talk to a family attorney in Kenya. If you separated and you're the one who lives with the children and the father is not involved, and for whatever reason you think the father is not involved and you think he'll not give consent, what will happen is you need to talk with a family attorney, family advocate in Kenya, so that you can get the sole custody. If you have document to prove you have sole custody of your child, then the consent from the father will not be required.
All right. Thank you very much. Asante sana Mapeshil Veva. Asante sana. Someone is asking, documents required at embassy not consistent, names appear different. I mean, like kuna mtu anasema ati anaenda birth certificate inasoma hii, high school inasoma jina lingine, majina, names.
So when you play your lottery, DV lottery, it's okay. You give your names, your legal names. when you are filing the form DS-260, now the application for the immigrant visa itself, there's a section where you ask your previous name, so that you have used any other name. If you know your documents have more than one name, that's where you need to indicate all the names you have used, so that the minute you submit your document, the officer can still identify you. If this document has a different name than this other one, the officer can identify you and know you are still the same person, because you have even told them way in advance that you have used more than one name. However, if it's a totally new name, that today my name was Charles, and tomorrow I'm submitting a document with the name Jeremy, then it has to go through the legal process. So if you know your documents, there are instances when somebody was using a certain name. Let's say you are using the name Kamau for some reason, and along the way you decided, I don't like Kamau. My birth certificate has Kamau, everything. However, my grandfather also had another name, Jogona. I reach a certain level, I say, I'm not going to use the name Kamau no more. I'm going to use the name Jogona. Then you have to go through the Kenyan legal process of change of name, whereby you'll have to talk to a lawyer. And once you talk to a lawyer, the lawyer will help you do something we call a deed poll. Once a deed poll is registered, you can now use that one when you are going to the embassy, with which you are able to show my name changed from Kamau to Jogona through this process. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they just assume name. This name is the one which is in your birth certificate and your KCSE certificate. When you getting your ID, you get with a different name. When you are getting passport, I don't know how you manage also to get a different name. And there's no deed poll. So the embassy will not approve your immigrant visa because they are not sure of your identity. And remember, your identity is one of the core things to be considered for the sake of US security. So security background, you may not pass because you have more than one name and they don't know how you change those names.
Wow, asante sana. So a quick one here, just in case mtu amepata visa ya hii DV na ameipata, so you have until when? Because now they think like the deadline ya September 30th. Is that the issuance date ama ni ile unastahili kuwa pia umefika America? Wale wamepata sasa hivi, when are they supposed to come to this country?
That is the issuance date. And if you look at that, the visa itself, it has the validity date. So you should ensure you enter within the validity date of that visa. Once you get that visa, you'll see it has issue date and expiry date. You should enter before the expiry date.
Okay, so yule alikuwa ameniuliza hivyo, tafadhali you can do that. Now another person here is asking me that yeye ako na hii kesi ya mnaitagaje hii ya mtu anayekuja Asylum. Alikuwa na kesi ya Asylum, but fortunately aliwin green card. Sasa ameniambia ati ilimbidi sasa atupe green card, akose kuendelea na process ya green card cause yako na hii kesi ya Asylum. Is that advisable ama you can still pursue the green card pia ukiwa na hii kesi ya Asylum? Sir,
when you win DV lottery, if you win and you're in the United States, you have two options. Option one is you do something called consular processing, whereby you will submit your application and you'll be required to go to your country embassy for your visa. That's one option. The other option is you do adjustment of status. For the first one, where you have to go to the embassy, you complete a form called DS-260. It's called consular processing. That one you will be required to go to your embassy. The other one, you complete a form called 485. At that point, what you'll be doing is adjustment of status. The key case, for you to do adjustment of status, you require to be invalid status. So if you came here as a visitor and applied for asylum and you have not been granted asylum, you will not be eligible to file for that I-485 because you already fallen out of status. If you decide to do consular processing and you travel out of the country, then they will check as to whether you're still admissible back into US. And that will depend on how long you have stayed out of status in the US. If you overstayed for more than 180 days, you will not be able to come back because you're ineligible to come back for the next 3 years. If it's more than 1 year, you're ineligible to come back for the next 10 years. So you will not be able to get a green card if you get out of the country. If you are here, if you're already out of status, you will still not be able to get it. And also, you also know that just like the embassy, that the visa has to be issued before September 30, it's the same thing with here. If you file for green card through 485 and a decision has not been made by September 30, again, you're still not going to get it. So the deadline of September 30 starts whether you're doing it through the embassy or you're doing it through USCIS in the US.
Okay, so now wakili, let me ask you this. Ni kumaanisha sasa wale wa Kenya wako hapa America and maybe they are not in status, they cannot try green card. Hawezi cheza?
Yes, Jeremy, these are very contentious issues because a lot of people, we tell them every year, we tell them there's no need, you're not going to win. Or rather, you can win the lottery itself, but you're not going to get a green card. And it has happened. And we've had some few people, some of your listeners who have gone ahead, they have played the lottery, they have won, and then they go through the process and they get stuck. So if you are already out of status, well, you can just play just to see whether you are lucky, but you would benefit.
Wow. Hey, jameni.
And I know many people don't like hearing this. Jeremy, let me tell you, people do not like hearing this. But our job is to tell them as it is. Ulisema tuambie watu ukweli wawe akijua. Yes.
I mean, okay. Someone here is asking me, amekuja hapa, amefile asylum, and well, sasa amebahatika, amepata mtu akumpe green card. I mean, I think his marriage, I think that's what he is trying to say. Will there be issues in that now? Since that's wataanza sasa kufuata ya bibi na bwana.
No, not really. Well, once you're in the United States, you can file for as many things as you're eligible. So if you think you're eligible for asylum, you can file for asylum. And by you filing for asylum, that does not make you ineligible to file for adjustment of status if you are lucky to have got married. But once you do these things, you have to know it's the same department. It's the Department of Homeland Security which will be advocating your asylum and your green card. So once you file and you go for your green card interview, some officers may go ahead and approve without having the file to see what you had filed in your asylum application. Some officers may want to have a look at what you filed in your asylum application. So we have had instances where we take people for interview, green card interview, and they have a pending asylum, and then the officer will just tell them, hi, I'm okay with what you have filed here. I'm okay with your green card application. I don't see any issue. Unfortunately, I need to have a copy of your asylum application, what you submitted. So just give us time. I've requested for your asylum file. Once it gets, we'll make a decision. And I am very sure several of your listeners also have encountered the same thing. Now, this is the mistake people make. You get married, you file for green card, and for some reason you decide to withdraw asylum, and you're already out of status. The minute you withdraw that asylum, you are placed in deportation. So even your green card, you're not going to get it. Now you have to go before an immigration judge. Because the regulations hold that once you submit an asylum application, there has to be a conclusion. There has to be a determination whether it's been approved or not. So by you withdrawing asylum, what means is you withdraw asylum, you go back to the status you were. Therefore, if you withdraw asylum and you're already out of status, then the asylum office will have to take an action. And what do? Because you are going out of status, they are not going to allow you just go scot-free like that. They are going to refer you to an immigration judge, because when an asylum application is submitted before asylum office, the thing they do, they decide we are going to approve. It's okay. If you are already in status and if you have not fallen out of status, they can deny, and that's the end of it. If you're already out of status and they are not granting that asylum, unfortunately, they have to refer you to an immigration judge. That has happened to a lot of people who have applied for green card and they are misled into withdrawing their asylum. They are usually referred to immigration judge. So they have to wait. You have to pursue your asylum. You have to pursue your green card, whichever one comes first. And I tell you, Jeremy, there are some people who have been so lucky. You get your green card, and in a few months or few years, you still go for your asylum interview and you get asylum. So you have both of them. And one may ask, why go for asylum? Why continue with asylum and you already got a green card? Because maybe you filed for that asylum while your children were under 21, and of course you went ahead and got your green card. Once you get your green card, the USCIS, the asylum office, gives you an option to maintain your asylum application or withdraw, or if you don't communicate with them, they just close your asylum application. So if you get a green card and you have children who are the 21 years, and you wish that they benefit from your asylum if it's granted, so what you should do is you notify the asylum office that you still want to proceed with your asylum application. So even if you have a green card, you can still go for your asylum application, and once the application is approved, you will use that approval to petition for your children to come here through the asylum process.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bwana Wakili. Nashukuru sana wale watu wanatufuata hapa. Well, let me read this one from Sikomere. Nasema, good morning JD and Wanjohi. If you have a removal proceeding and you are denied bail, can you appeal? Huyu ni kama sasa mtu ako tayari kurudishwa nyumbani. And of course, the board was approved by judge, but ICE ni ya watu wanakujia watu, denies it. Can you still appeal?
Well, that person may not be accurate in what she said, but what she intends to say is that somebody is already detained and they filed for bond, and once they filed for bond, the judge, for whatever reason, was the judge. What we said, the judge was amenable to grant that. The judge is saying, hey, I feel like I can grant or I do not grant. And two instances, the judge can go ahead and grant that bond, and ICE appeals it. Or the judge can deny the bond and you appeal. So either of those might have happened. Either the judge have granted you bond and ICE appealed, or the judge denied that bond and you appealed. Appealing is your right. In this case, she's asking whether she can appeal. It appears that the judge denied the bond. And it's not that the judge gave it and ICE did not give. No. What it means is that the judge sided with ICE. ICE were opposed to grant of bond, and the judge sided with ICE. And
but the judge approved the bond, though. The judge approved.
Well, if the judge approves a bond, if the judge grants a bond, then you are not the one to appeal. It's ICE then which will appeal. It's not you to appeal. It's ICE. Oh. Listen, if I can explain this, because this is something which happens all the time. When a case is going on, there's what the judge will say. And you can get only one aspect of the case, but you don't get the whole thing. And in this situation, maybe the judge had mentioned that, hey, I'm willing to grant this bond. And I said, hey, we are opposed to granting this bond because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. So it's not that the judge will grant and the ICE deny. No, ICE does not deny. It's the judge who grants bond. So if the judge grants you bond then ICE can only go ahead and appeal the immigration Board of Immigration Appeals. So most likely what might have happened in this case is that the judge was buying the idea, maybe I may grant this, maybe not, and then the ICE opposed it, and eventually the judge denied the bond. That's why they want to appeal. Yes, you can go ahead and appeal, and after you appeal, it may take several months before that is determined. So instead of spending so much energy on the appeal and money, it would be far much better to spend money on the underlying issue. The substantive issue is to fight the deportation itself. That should be the biggest energy should be spent more on that, because grant of bond is mostly a matter of discretion. So despite you thinking that you are eligible for the bond, if the immigration judge eventually decides I'm not going to exercise favorable discretion, it will be so hard to overturn it to the bond, because the judge may only quote one reason why I've denied you that bond. Unless it's legally unsound, the board will not check as to whether the judge exercised the discretion the right way or not. The board will say, for example, let's say you had been arrested for DUI, and the judge said, just because you have a DUI, I'm not going to grant you bond. Even if you appeal, as long as the judge said, I don't feel like giving you because you had a DUI, you are not going to overcome it. If the judge, for example, you fail to update your address all the time, and then the judge said, I find you a flight risk because when you came into US, you're supposed to keep the government updated of your address, and you did not update the government. So I think you have flight risk. Well, it's arguable, but as long as the judge has given a reason, then the board will rarely go behind the reason which the judge gave. As long as the judge says, I feel this, I feel because of 1, 2, 3 reasons I'm not going to give you. To overcome it is a hard task.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wakili. Asante sana. Someone is asking, hello, names on my birth certificate and passport do not match. Allah, how now? Can affidavit of names help at the embassy? Yani, birth certificate and passport do not match. How?
Still, at the end of the day, it's the burden is on you to prove you're one and the same person. And you look at what is the big variance between those, the differences in the names. Instead that a simple one that the embassy may understand. Like assuming back at home, I was born, I was given names, there was no baptismal name, then along the way I get baptized and I use that name. Then I'm able to show how I acquired that name. So all of it will depend what is the variance, what's the difference between those two names. If it's a big one, then you're expected to have something called deed poll, which shows how your name changed from X to Y.
But I think Wakili in Kenya, if she's in Kenya, when you're applying for a passport, you must go with your original birth certificate.
Yes.
So if you, I'm not understanding how your passport will have a different name, not unless it was a Nela from whoever issued you a passport, and you can go there and fix it. Ama sivyo, because I believe that wale wako Kenya passport mnachukuanga na nini, you guys can tell us. Haya.
But there's also the issue of the ID. Maybe the birth certificate and ID have different names. Then but at the end of the day, what will be the concern of the embassy is this the same person, and you only have to show the trail of your name change, how you change your name, if you're able to show. So an affidavit sometimes may work, sometimes may not work. If you are changing from Kamau to Mwangi, an affidavit will not work. Yes.
Aya, kuna mtu nimeona hapa akiniandikia very interesting comment. Imeenda hapi. I don't know whether it was on Facebook or it was on YouTube. I don't know. But I'll keep checking on it. Ni kama alikuwa ameniambia, okay, ni kama alikuwa amesema akicheza green card hakujaza watoto yake. So when he did the green card hakujaza watoto yake. So now kwa form ya D260 amejaza watoto. Sasa anauliza niendelee na process ama hiyo ni kutupa tu pesa?
Hiyo sasa ni bahati yake, because it will depend on the officer who will be adjudicating the case. But technically, he misrepresented his details. There was material misrepresentation when he played the DV lottery, in that he indicated he does not have children and he has children. So that can become an issue, and it will all depend with the officer at the embassy. Chances are they may deny just because of that.
Just in case you have any other question concerning green card, you can still keep them coming. Wanjohi naona sana nasema birth certificate and passport can be different if someone was married and changed to husband names. They present marriage certificate to show difference. Okay. Jury Mso anasema birth certificate, ID of your parents. Okay. You must have a birth certificate. Keep up the good work, Jeremy Damaris. Thank you very much. Julius Kemaru Mwangi, thank you. Faith Steyer, thank you. Wako Facebook, Everini Getaka. JD, very educative, anxious, waiting for Nairobi Embassy to start to NLS to 2016 selectee. Saimoa Jiko, thank you. Hellman, majina zangu, ID na birth certificate ziko sawa, only in KCSE. I don't know. Sikomeri, thank you very much. God bless you. Now, let's come to HB1 visa. Hii ni ile ya work visa ama ni gani wakili?
Yeah, hii ni ile ya work, ile a US based employer proves to USCIS that they have somebody who is qualified, who is not a US citizen or legal permanent resident, and they have a job position, and they have tried to get an equally qualified legal permanent resident or a US citizen for that position, and they have not been able to recruit one. And based on that, they want to bring that foreigner to come out for that position. That is the H1B visa.
Na hii sasa ndio tumesikia inalipiwa 100,000. Ni kulipa 100,000 or you must have the 100,000? Can you let us know about this?
Well, unajua wanasema H1B has been one of the abused visa, and to them they are holding that the US companies, this big tech, instead of promoting the American children, instead of helping the graduates from the university who are Americans to gain skills, they are opting to go for a cheaper way whereby they import labor from outside. So if I have a tech company, instead of bringing in a recent graduate, I train them to get the necessary experience, I'm opting to straight away skip that aspect, go get an employee from outside the country. I bring them, they come, first day they start working. So it's the feeling of the government that the H1B visa is doing disservice to the country, in that it's not helping in the growth of quality workforce of Americans. And because of that, they are saying now they only want serious employers who need this employee as a matter of necessity. So to them, the argument is an employer will be considering, should I spend 100,000 to bring in somebody, and this 100,000 I'll be paying every year, or should I spend that 100,000 to educate and train an American? So that's the argument they're having. Well, for some Americans, it's a good thing. In the short run, it may be. In the short run, well, it's arguable that it may hurt some of these industries. In the long term, it's the government's opinion that America will benefit out of this, in that companies may opt to train more Americans and offer more education opportunities to American kids as opposed to bringing foreigners. So the 100,000 is intended to be per person, and it's per year.
Wow. Hey, that's crazy. I mean, but I think it's, as you have said, it's good for the people. Now, unataka kusema how these nurses that comes from Kenya, are they under HB1 visa?
No.
Au wanakuwa kwa visa gani?
Most of them
Category
are
gani?
most of them are the EB. They are not at the
AB, so
H1B.
them are not
There's a
affected.
difference. If I can explain, H1B is a non-immigrant visa. This is a temporary visa. So that's the one which has been they're intending to charge 100,000. Nurses do not come with non-immigrant visa. Nurses come with green card. So nurses, as they come here, they immigrate. The minute they are from Nairobi, they get an immigrant visa. The minute they are admitted at whatever embassy, at whatever port of entry, they become green card holders. So that's a whole difference between them.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. And ni vizuri kujua because nimeona watu wakifinya porojo huku sana na wanakosesha watu usingizi. But I thank God to know that, at least because we have a lot of nurses coming from Kenya and teachers as well. And that's a good one. So
but
now,
what I may say is, I think ni Mswahili anasema mwenzako akinyolewa chako tia maji, something like that. Yeah, so they have gone for H1B. Now we don't know what will be next. And most likely they will also be going for some of those. But as you all know, these people are also a little bit selfish. They need nurses. They need teachers. These are essential workers.
Okay, now let's talk about I've seen many times, like when I'm traveling, nikienda ninaonanga kwa airport wanasema you must provide a real ID ama the star ID. And well, I don't know who receives a real ID and who don't receive the real ID, because I've seen so many Kenyans in the US wenye hawana documents. Now they are not traveling, hawaendi na ndege. Kama mtu alikuwa anatoka Seattle anakuja North Carolina, mtu anakuambia siwezi travel. Is there any risk for them to travel? Now, before they were traveling with their regular IDs and whatever, what is going on, Wakili, Bana Wakili? Because I have a lot of my friends who have been grounded already. They don't want to move around.
Well, over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years there, that's when the Real ID Act came into place. And the Real ID requires states to verify the immigration status of the applicants of driver's license and national and state IDs. So this requirement has been waiting for so long, and the federal government was accepting IDs, a driver license, from states which had not complied with that requirement. Now, today, all states, there's no waiver. All states are supposed to comply with that requirement of verifying the immigration status before they issue their driver license. And if they comply with that, they issue a driver license or national ID with that star. That star means that we have verified your immigration status, that you are in status. Now, that's the only ID which will be acceptable in a federal facility, of which an airport is a federal facility. So, if you don't have such an ID, you'll not be able to travel. However, there are alternative documents which you can use, and one of it is a valid passport from any other country. So, you can still travel using a valid passport from whatever country you're from, if your passport is still valid. Now, fears. Where are the fears coming from? The fears are coming from the heightened immigration enforcement, in that some of these officers, the minute they encounter somebody who is out of status, they really do not care. They will have to pick you. So, when you are here, let's say you have applied for asylum, your asylum is pending, you can still be placed in legal proceedings. ICE can pick you even if you have a pending asylum. If you encounter with ICE, you have had cases, even some recent asylum applicants, they have gone for biometrics and they are picked. A lot of people, if you have a case, you have a pending asylum and you have a certain case, the schedule for biometrics, you go there, they pick you up. It's something which is happening all the time. So If you go to the airport with your passport and you're already out of status, yes, you'll be allowed to travel and all that. But if by any chance you just encounter a nice officer or custom and border patrol officer who is overzealous, well, they can decide to do what they can decide to question you a little bit more about your immigration status, and you're placed in the more proceedings. But it's not very common. So far, I've not had any client who has told me they have been picked while attempting to fly with their passports. I've not yet heard of that.
So ni kumaanisha mwenye passport yake alikuja hapa 20 years ago, hana passport ya Kenya, you can't risk, you can't go.
Yeah, that might be risky. And again, when we get to issues of having valid passports, you have filed for asylum and you have said you're afraid of going back to your home country because your government cannot protect you, or the government will persecute you if you go back to your country. And then you came in year 2010, and in the year 2015, when your passport expired, you went to the embassy and renewed your passport, and then you go for asylum. The question they'll be asking, if the government is really looking for you, if the government wants to persecute you, how then did they end up give you the privilege of owning a passport? Why did they grant you a passport yet they were looking for you? So if you're an asylum applicant and you are renewing your passport, you better first discuss with your immigration attorney and see what will be the implication of renewing your passport in such circumstances.
Wow. Okay. Thank you very much, Bwana Wakili. Appreciate it. Florence Wanjiko, thank you very, very much. Wanjajin, thank you. Lucy Wanjiro, thank you. My good friend Doreen, asante sana. Tabi, thank you. Nasema unashukuru sana, very informative. Joseph Mwangi, asanti. Pia one dem, thank you. Truth be told, wenye waliwin green card na hawajaitwa interview hadi sasa, what does that mean? Hiyo tumerudishiwa. Na nice Nantei, Jeremy mtoi wangu ako home. Okay, anaweza jaribu alimaliza shule. Yeah, she can. Faith question, those who already have their visa, is it gonna affect the time they need to enter the US after that? No, hiyo tumejibiwa. Hi Mr. Jeremy, hope you're doing well there. I'm watching you nikiwa hapa Kenya. Asante sana. Just if you have any question before I let Wakili go, you can actually now talk to us. But now let me ask you, Wakili, what is that our people need to know? Najua wewe uko kwa immigration, what is happening? ICE nimesikia, I've seen a friend of mine actually alishikwa hapa Alabama zui kumeharibika aje. My good friend who works for me sometimes here, amekuja hapa, ameshikwa. As we speak right now, he's in Mexico. I mean, 2 weeks he was gone. 2 weeks. Hata alipelekwa hapa Tuscaloosa wapi. Then right now we speak with him akiwa Mexico. ICE. Sasa ni nini tunastahili? What are we supposed to know at this time?
Well, Jeremy, when we applied for our visa in Nairobi, you remember all of us, we come here for a week or 2 weeks. And when we get to the port of entry, we also say, I'm only attending this church conference for a week and I'll be out of here. Then, out of their generosity at the port of entry, they tell you, even if you want to stay for a week, we allow you, if need arises, you can stay for 6 months here, spend all that money you came with from your country, try to ask for more money from your country, bring it and leave it with the US economy. So that generous that they give you 6 months. The minute you don't go back within those 6 months which they have allowed you to stay, you're in violation of immigration laws. And ICE is Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Their job is just one, to enforce immigration and customs law. One of it is to ensure anyone who is not in status is removed out of the United States. That's why the Department of Homeland Security have another department called ERO. That department also is to enforce removal orders and all that. So that's their job. Their job is to ensure they enforce all the removal orders. That's the job of the officers, to enforce them, to remove people. So anytime ICE encounters you, they can exercise discretion and say, even though we know you're out of status, we are going to let you stay here because you have not done X, Y, Z. And that has been the practice for so many years. Democrats, over the last few years, are the ones who have been advocating for an exercise of discretion in enforcement of immigration laws. Republican, during Trump one, he really was not a big fan of exercise of discretion. Same thing, Trump too, he's also not a fan of exercise of discretion. So that's why anytime ICE know you are here illegally, they encounter you, they don't have that leverage to exercise discretion. Their job is just to enforce. It's not upon them to exercise any discretion. That's where the problem has arisen. That's why anytime, like now, you apply for green card, is denied. Before you would apply for green card and it's denied and you are late, USCIS does not take further action. You apply for citizenship and it's denied and USCIS does not take further action. Currently, you apply for a benefit, it's denied. They are no longer exercising any discretion. They will place you in more proceedings. If ICE receive a call that so-and-so is here and they are illegal, for a long time, what they will do, they go to their system database and see whether you are security risk, community threat. They look at that, they see this guy has not committed any crime, and they say, oh, all right, let's bother ourselves with criminals and all those kind of things. That is no longer the case. As long as you get to their radar, they are going to enforce it. They will come for you, whether you have committed a crime or you have not committed a crime. That's what is happening. It's just that there is increased enforcement of immigration laws. What can one do? All you do is to ensure you are in compliance. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible. And if it's not possible, then you also be real, be realistic. No, this is what I can do. In case I'm arrested, this is what I can do. This is how I can defend myself. You're fighting a lot of people who've been here for so many years. They would be eligible, for example, something called cancellation of removal. But you have to show the relationship you have with your qualifying children and qualifying parents and all those kind of things, and your attachment to the community. However, you don't have any. You don't have any attachment to the community. You don't have any attachment with your children. So you're not able to show a judge that in case you are arrested and you are removed, there will be a hardship to anyone in the US. So at this time, if you know you are out of status, those are the things you need to have discussed already with an immigration lawyer. You have known what are your options, and I know I need to keep working on X, Y, Z. If, for example, you had committed a crime a while back, that one shows you not a person of good moral character. This is the time for you to work out, to do what you need to do to show that even if I committed that crime 5 or 10 years ago, I'm a different person. Look at all the things I've been doing. See how I've been volunteering in my church. Look how within the community I've been volunteering. See how I've engaged myself in X, Y, Z. This is the time you need to discuss with your lawyer, and you get to know what are your options. You get to know what you need to be doing as of now, something which is substantially enough to offset the negatives you might be having in your case. So huwezi kuwa ulishikwa na hii makosa hapa na pale na wewe umetulia tu unangojea tu ile siku utakamatwa ndio utakimbia kwa lawyer. No. You need to do it way before you are arrested. Nikubaya.
Wow. Thank you very much Wakili kwa hiyo information. Najua ulikuwa umeniomba nikuhost to just for 1 hour because nimekutoa kwa line of your duty na najua you are a very busy man. But well, before I let you go, kuna wakati tulikuwa tumesikia inasemekana kama uko na I think $5 million, you can just come and apply for a green card and you are eligible. Kama uko na mapesa, you can just apply. You can come here as an investor and start your life in America.
Yes, there is a investor visa whereby if you have the amount is $1 million. If you have $1 million and you want to come and invest in a needy sector, you can get that green card. If on the other end you have a minimum of $500,000 and you join some other companies specifically set for investors, you bring your money there, you can still get a green card based on that. Of course, you'll get a 2-year green card, and after 2 years, you are required to prove that you have achieved what you intended. Your business is profitable, and you are playing a role in improving the U.S. economy. You have created employment. That's what you'll be required to show within those 2 years. So the program is still there. And of course, you've been hearing Trump say they are going to introduce another one called gold, hereby you may need more dollars than $1 million or $500,000. You're waiting to see. But nothing has changed about the investor visa. It's still there. However, it's not an easy one. It's very expensive. Realistically, for one to get one, you need not less than $900,000, and the dividends which you may get, it's also very minimal.
Wow, hiyo ni karibu 100 million Kenya shillings.
Yes.
Haya, kuna watu wako nazo, kuna watu wanasikia hiyo ni pesa kidogo sana. I can just, but it's good to let them know. If you have your 100 million somewhere and you want that visa to come and just invest here and do business, it is possible. Talk to wakili, namba yake iko hapa. And well, there are some people who keep asking me, huyu wakili anasaidiaga kina nani? Number one, wakili haletagi watu wa Amerika. You have to know this. Wakili haletagi watu wa Amerika. Number two, unajua nimekuja kurealize Anthony, mtu kesi yake alipelekea lawyer mwingine, lawyer amemfanya masaibu, sasa saa hizi ndio anajaribu kutafuta Anthony Charles Wanjohi. How do you deal with these people? Na alafu tuambie wewe unasaidianga kina nani kwa hiyo law firm yenu mkiwa na muli?
So in our law firm, we help asylum applicants, people who are filing for asylum. We help people who are filing for green card. We defend people who are being deported, people who are filing for citizenship. We help people who are filing for work permit. Rarely, in a small way, we do that. And those people who are petitioning for their relatives, we also help them. As to our availability, you all know now we are at a very busy time. If it's asylum applications, there has been increased interviews. We are having 1 or 2 interviews every week, which means we are increasingly getting busier and busier, but we are still trying to create time. We are still trying to increase our support staff, so we are doing the best we can. For those who have gone ahead and seen other lawyers, their case has gone bad, and that's the time they are coming to us. Well, we say good luck. We will evaluate a case. Once we evaluate, we'll determine whether we're going to take it or not based on facts of that case. Of course, sometimes we don't like what some people subject us to. They go, they mess their case. While it's all messed up, now they bring it to us to clean it. In such situations, we'll make a determination whether we are going to engage ourselves in it or not. However, we invite everyone. We try to help as much as we can. And of course, it's always our joy when we see success in a certain case. And the reason why we have opened our farm is one, it's very simple, to help immigrants, to help people who are here who want to settle legally in the US. So we don't discriminate. Anyone who comes through our door, anyone who calls us, if we are able to help you, we will help you. Sometimes you may reach out to us and we are not able to reach back. We apologize for that, but we do the best we can. And just know, if you're calling us and we are not able to reach back to you, we are already working with maybe your friend or your relative somewhere.
Wow. Thank you very much Bwana Wakili, nashukuru sana. Thank you for your time. God bless you so much. Na ubarikiwe. But of course we have greetings from Kevu Doctors. Tuko na Rahab Wahu, tuko na mamake S Frank anakuambia kwa Washington State. Anashukuru sana. Thank you very much. Evangelist Luce Wago Jiri anasema nikusalimia, anasema congratulations our Dr. Jeremy for these enlightenment blessings. No Evangelist Luce Wago Jiri.
Dele mora kule kwa kameme. Ndimurikagiria.
Ajira gweithia muno makiria na rero rethie Kenya urethie kumucerera haria mai mahiu he handu akoragwo na prayer center ndatigite tukigura itanda umutwarire itanda ta ithano ni akona prayer center njega muno tondu ni uthakaga golf ri ona ni nyonaga ni uri mibango miega muno ya andu a golf ri mubange muri mutwarire itanda ta 10 tiguo
ni turo horo cio
thank you muno
mundu wake Nikira kuhera wake kuya henibo wake ujira henibo wake witagwo mugwena niba nyajiraga uri araruta wira mwega.
Perfect. Koguo Evangelist Luce Wago Jiri gaithika muno na kanitha waku wa PBB Ministry haria Nairobi. Thank you muno. Pastor Paul ajira gugeithia muno makiria na mundu etagwo Wanjiru Okoth ajira gugeithia. Naomi Jedi, thank you very much. Susan Wanjiko Kenya ajui, thank you muno. Na mundu etagwo Odanga Godfrey ameniambia nikusalimie sana. Elizabeth Gitaka, thank you very much. Florence Wajiko, thank you. Wanja Jane, John Kafati, thank you very much. Catherine Mwagi, Lucy Nyokabi, asante sana. Inyu all the muma hamwe nane upande wa YouTube, thank you very much. Doreen Balasa, Tabi, thank you. Duncan Mugambi, asante sana. Na Jorin Nuli unasema nikusalimia wakili sana. Wakili ndokera thimo no reme gukumia na we njitekiria ndigwita ringi uke twariririe uhoro wigie immigration kuri andu aria mari bururi-ini wa Kenya na aria meguku bururi-ini wa America.
Thank you muno Jeremy, na hao wote wamenisalimia, nimefurahi sana. Hata huyo wa mwisho Jorin Nuri, that Nuri is my mother but Jorin is my niece, so asante sana.
Aya, thank you. Have a good day, wakili.
Asante.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. All the way from North Carolina, naitwa wakili Anthony. Tunamitanga Anthony Charles Wanjohi. Well, just in case you need any help with immigration issues, the good thing I always say, huyu ni mtu wa nyumbani, anaongea lugha tunaelewana, so utamwambia shida zako na mahali hajui. I like Wanjohi because he will tell you. Hata kupeleka around the bush ati ndio achukue pesa yako. No, atakwambia you know what? Hii case sitaweza, and I think that's all we need. And of course, kwa sababu kuna watu wengi wetu hapa wanasemanga ni wa kwetu, acha tuende huyu atatusaidia ni free of charge. No, he charges because he's just an attorney like others. Attorney like others wenye wako hapa. Ukienda pale wanakutisha 25,000. Yeah, ni consider it. Atakucharge kiunyumbani, but he is a good man. So thank you very much. God bless you. Wale wanacheza green card this year, let us do it. Usisikie hiyo mambo yote imesemekana, you just go, proceed. Wengine wakikatazwa, yours will go through because kama Mungu amesema utakuja. Mimi kama si green card singekuwa hapa, and God made it possible for me. So why not you? You just need to try. And once you try it, you hit that, your life changes. Na ikibadilika sikumbuke kubadilisha ya wengine. Others, thank you, God bless you. Mimi sina la ziada, need to go do something else, but for now I'll leave you with this song ya my good friend Jen Lea akiwa upande wa Washington State. Watu wa Washington State na watolea kofia sana. Thank you, God bless you. Gladys Maina Kuma, New York, asanteni sana. Mimi naondoka. Thank you.